Hello, my name is Michael Ray. I'm the director of the American Indian program here at New Mexico State University. We thank you for joining us on our digital platform, as we would have been having some events here on our campus, but at the current moment, we're just not able to. So thank you for joining us once again. Enjoy the event, and we'll see you again soon.
Went back up to Seattle after I graduated in 2017. Took a position as a consulting teacher with Seattle Public Schools. Worked with the Native Education Program as a consultant for non-Native teachers to teach about Native American content. Developed curriculum for Seattle Public Schools. Worked closely with the Superintendent Juneau on curriculum development and professional development for Native and non-Native teachers. And that was my work for 2 years. And during that time, there was always that, okay, well, how can I really focus in on what I'm trained to do? The Native American Studies always was a key component into Native curriculum, but what I really wanted to do was fully focus on Native American Studies. And Native American Studies, those positions only come up so often in the year. And the New Mexico State was definitely very, very, very exciting, because we want to return back to the Southwest, because, that's what I do. I go bounce back and forth. But a big part of it, is to be closer to home, because that's what you do. You return home. Being Native, I know that's what my family has always emphasized, and I've always wanted to come home, because we've got 2 boys that need to be near their grandparents. And yeah, my mom is sick. She's in hospice care right now, and I haven't been able to see her since February. So she's not allowed any visitors. So I'm just kind of waiting it out. I'm glad she's healthy, and I'm glad she's safe. But that was one of the largest, one of the big reasons why we returned back to the Southwest. Yeah. So that's my academic journey of of going back and forth. Yeah, let me see. Is there? Yes. So this is our upcoming schedule of Native American Studies classes. So this is Dr. Pepiana and I's upcoming fall schedule. Hopefully we will be back into our campus, back into our classrooms by then. I am teaching 3 courses in the fall, which is Contemporary Native American, Indigenous Peoples of North America, and Native American Visual Culture. Oh, wait, Native American, I'm not teaching contemporary. I'm teaching contemporary during the summer, and then Dawn is teaching it in the fall. And I'm also teaching Native American women. I'm doing that course right now, but of course, I think the official name of Native American women class is going to be starting in the fall. But currently it's under a different title, and Jessie's in that class. A lot of amazing readings. We actually used an NMSU alum book, Therese, what is it, Heartberries. And Michael, we've talked about you knowing her and placing some of Las Cruces and El Paso and Mesilla into the book. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, that was one of the great books that we used this semester, and I'll be using that again in the fall. Okay, I think we have some time for some questions. I think that was the next slide, was the questions.
Okay, so.
Georgina, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ray.
No, this is what I was going to say. This is the process. Well, then we'll look at as how to start doing questions. So if you have questions, Either you can also put them in the chat, or if you just want to raise your hand and we can look around visually to see who has their hand up, we can go into those older school methodologies of, if you have a hand, raise your question, raise your hand up. But I think Don had one, so we'll go ahead and go to Don. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I never thought of raising hand. That's a good idea. Yeah, I was just curious, Georgina, and I don't know if you talked about this, but how did you get into visual arts? And you talked about teaching art, and what was the motivation there? And are you an artist, and have you done that kind of thing? I'm just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, art was always something that I dabbled with. I became very interested when I must have been I was in elementary school. I had this is one of my great stories is my elementary art teacher ended up being a high school art teacher and also an art education professor at NAU. So I kind of was following that. So there must have been something that she ignited in me. But I remember doing pretty great projects. And one of my early pieces was made out of clay. I don't think it was, I don't even remember what I made. I think it was like a rabbit or something, but it was sold at the Herd. So at the Herd Museum, they used to have an art show for students. And I think they still do have Native American student art shows where students are able to sell their work. And I remember my art teacher asking me if I wanted to sell. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, why not? So that was one of my early pieces. But I'm a painter. I also have I did a dual major at NAU, and I was a painter once. I would like to take it up again, but when you've got two children, I'm an oil painter, so I work with a lot of oil paints that are permanent, but also the mediums that I use are like different kinds of oils and and paint thinners and all that stuff. When the kid's 3, he's gonna just get into it. I'm already stressing thinking about him, but yeah, he's 3. He's gonna get into it. So as of right now, I'm not practicing or making anything, but I'm definitely a supporter. I love buying art. I love wearing art. I've got a weakness for earrings.
Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, well, I'm going to raise my hand and use the thing. I know one of the things we've been talking with students is that level of imposter syndrome and how sometimes it's not necessarily moving past imposter syndrome, but working with imposter syndrome, in that sometimes when we enter into new realms, as we go into profession, as we go into mentorship, as we go into areas, how we work with it. So when it comes to helping out incoming students, whether it be into the undergraduate role or into the graduate role, or even in the professional realm, what were some of those things that helped you move into those different areas and those different levels?
I think for me, I think students need that support, and what helped me overcome that was really having my parents so close to me. I'm so grounded in my own culture and my own traditional practices and language, all of that, and always having that, because I think I had land, my land taken away. So what I had left was something that I hold close and I stay connected with. So I was always able to find some type of external support to keep me grounded. It was my parents, it was other mentors, whether they be native or non-native. Having those people that believe in you is really significant, because some of my stories from elementary school, I didn't have that. And when I think about it, I'm shocked, because we know the trajectory, we know the statistics of graduation rates among Native Americans. And during those years, during my early career in education, I I passed high school, but it wasn't something that I was, my grades during that time, my grade point average, my attendance was nothing that would, that showed what I am doing today. Like, I know when I run into high school friends or someone I knew from high school way back in the day, when I'm Flagstaff visiting my family, they'll be like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm a professor now." And they're like, "What?" They're shocked. They're shocked because they didn't know. Like, they had no idea, because they knew me as somebody else, and I thought about that. That's Yeah. So when I think about, um, that, like, it really, my belief in myself and someone else believing in me didn't happen until post high school.
Any other questions? Have their hands up?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to further the conversation of, one of the things we often talk about is hindsight being extremely 2020. So if you could go back and talk to your either high school self, freshman self, as a college student, junior self, what would you like to say when it comes to, like you mentioned, those words of encouragement or those strengths that you can utilize?
Yeah, I I think if I had to, say something to myself, it would have been back in probably middle school. Middle school's tough enough. It's awful. Like, I remember being in middle school, or maybe earlier. But you always think that your parents are always going to be there. You always think your parents are going to always, tell you things, share information with you, and they did, and they do continue to do that even today. But I think there was a point in probably, middle school and adolescence where you just are like, "I don't want to hear it, Dad. I don't want to hear it. Mom, I don't want to hear it. Like, don't tell me about that stuff." And that's just being a really young kid. But I think Native American programs are really significant, and they're really significant, not only at university level, um, but also in those early stages of the education system, because there are students like me. I mean, I had a home. I don't remember ever, like, feeling like my life was lacking something. My parents were able to provide what they could, and that was enough for our family, and that was enough. But um, I think about, like, well, I had a grade. Like, there's other students that didn't have a grade. And those are the students, of course, we always try to reach, but also everyone needs that. Like, especially when you're in when you're not only a person of color, but a native kid. You're dealing with your own history, but you're dealing with your parents' history. You're dealing with your grandparents' history. That's all carried on your back. And I think that was what my experiences were telling me, is like, these things had happened way before me, but I was still, experiencing those in my own ways. So I think if I had to tell myself something early on, to be like, listen to your parents more. You should have been listening to your dad. You know? Now I do. Now I do.
And for those who are looking at going into the professional career, when it comes to, I know you mentioned your significant other is an HR manager, what are some of the things that you wish somebody told you when going for that first job, or when going into those higher levels of administration, or whatever it might be?
I think the more practice you have in those interactive realms, is great preparation for it. And always, like, have confidence in yourself. Like, um, you need to practice that build up. That build up, that stuff that goes in your head right before you walk into, um, an interview, or having, a meeting, an important meeting. You need to have some type of, like, speech, something internal that builds you up. and develop that. And you can, students can do that in more interactive roles, like, whether you go to a club meeting or go to an event on campus, like being able to interact on different levels of engagement is always important. See, there he is right there. See, there's the guy. Yeah, there's the guy. See, no. Yeah, I know. I was talking about how we met, about like how you hated me and I hated you.
I didn't hate her.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's what I would say is for students who are going into that professional level, give yourself more opportunities to network and develop those skills, and but also believe in yourself. That's the biggest part of it, is you're not always going to have your mom or your dad there to tell you what to do or what to say. You need to be able to do that on your own.
Don, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to say before we go that, Georgina, we're really pleased that you came to work with us, and just to tell the rest of the folks, it was a big challenge because we had a lot of very good candidates from all over the United States and Canada for the position. But the other thing is, I appreciate you sharing some of your life with us. And some may not know this, but as a professor in academics, we're so much into what we do that it's not a lot of time we have to share with each other at this kind of way, and I think that's really important. So I appreciate you sharing some of your life with us, and again, to be a Native American woman in academics and professor is just a rare thing. So we're fortunate. And Ray, Michael, thanks for doing this. I mean, I think it's a great thing, and certainly wish we had more students to hear those stories, because we're human too. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Pepion. And I know that's one of the things we were looking at in creating this kind of a space and environment to have these conversations shared, but also in making sure that we are equitable when it comes to not everybody has the resources for broadband internet in their community because of infrastructure. And this is why we wanted to record the conversation, because we always wanted to make sure that if it's downloadable going through this process, but also, again, like we were dealing with technology issues just a while ago, understanding that it's not going to be perfect the first time. It may not be perfect at some point further, but every time that we keep moving forward, we get that much better. And I think that was some of the things of working with the students, is just because you may have been accepted to New Mexico State University or any other university does not mean that the world's knowledge of that institution is magically beamed into your head. And I know one of the things we've been looking at when it comes to the American Indian Center and the American Indian program at New Mexico State University is, how do we engage the students to where they feel confident to utilize our resources, not just the American Indian program, but the other programs at our campus, to where they're maximizing their resources on our campus, wherever it might be. And we start looking at that social capital, as we talked about, of learning from others who have gone down that path and how we can sidestep those roadblocks that may be in our way, or find those detours and shortcuts that often come up in life. And we know that the road of life, that journey, it's not going to be a straight line. Sometimes there's setbacks, sometimes there's shortcuts where we might be in a great opportunity where we're having a conversation with somebody and they say, hey, there's an internship or there's a job available, or we never know when those opportunities will come on up. So that's why we want to talk about the networking aspect of sharing these stories. I know we mentioned how sometimes it's not feasible to be in many places. I know this time period I was double booked because I had another meeting that I usually help out and lead with. But we want to make sure that those opportunities are available, and that, again, we talked about the video. We understand it's not normal sometimes to see yourself, because usually you don't get to see that mirror aspect when you're in a classroom. I know Georgina and I were talking about it, that resting Zoom face, making that as a phrase of you get to now see what your professors might see. But as we move forward, we want to make sure that we're bringing the Zoom space that we are now existing in, not only just a classroom space or a business meeting space, but that community space for our students, our faculty, our staff that we have here at NMSU. But not only that, as we see, we have a participant from IU, coming on in from across the country. And this is where we have those opportunities to expand beyond. And that's where we look forward to not only having them now when we're having the forced, but continuing having these Zoom interactions when we do have our on-campus events as well. Because as mentioned before, we have students who are on our NMSU online who will maybe never set foot on our campus but 3 or 4 times, but how we can also reach out to our Grants campus, our Alamogordo, Carlsbad, Albuquerque Center, and again, further bring that conversation closer to home, being that I know a lot of us are in our homes. And we thank you for inviting us into your homes, because this is one of those times where that may be just on a feast day or on a celebration. But now we get to invite people into our homes on a daily basis, sometimes on a weekly basis. So in moving forward, when it comes to some of the things we wanted to spotlight, we will be continuing our What's Up Wednesdays. So if you went to our Facebook, our Instagram, or been a part of our AIP bulletin, we're going to continue having these conversation meeting spaces on Wednesdays to have the interaction of just being students. We had a couple of students in our last What's Up Wednesday talking about some of that difficulty of transitioning, not being able to be in the classroom, not even having that opportunity to, talk with their friends who might not have seen for a while. So we want to talk about some of those things, but also some of those achievements that we've been going through. There's been a lot of time to do a lot of side projects for students who might have been able to take on a part-time job during this time period, or maybe they're looking at working on, we've seen students who are looking at podcasts, who are doing digital filmmaking projects, who are doing all these different things, that they now have a little bit more autonomy to do that. So next week, in addition to our What's Up Wednesday at noon, we will also be highlighting one of our other newer faculty members from our Native American community, who is Dr. Brandon Hobson. So Dr. Brandon Hobson is in our English department in the College of Arts and Sciences, and he is the author of the book Where the Dead Sit Talking, which was a finalist for the National Book Award. So he will be on our virtual stage next Wednesday at 4 p.m. And one of the things is we get to know now, I can get to ask him, hey, do you have a PowerPoint you wish to share with me beforehand? And do you have all these different things that we've got to learn today? And hopefully, again, every one of these meetings we have will be that much better, to the point where what we were talking about earlier, as soon as we learn the best way to work, we're all going to be in our campuses. We're all going to be back into the classroom. But again, it's how we move forward with this and how we learn about new ways of incorporating the digital community into our in-class community. But just wanted to open it up. Anybody want to say anything, maybe introduce themselves? Because I know we had Dr. Badoni introduce herself, Dr. Pepion introduced himself. For me, I'm just a talking head right now, but my name is Michael Ray. I'm the director of the American Indian program here at New Mexico State University, for those who are not a part of my staff who are here. But everybody, if you have that opportunity, to introduce yourselves as well. Okay.
Let me just unmute myself. Hi, I'm the person who's not from NMSU. Hi, I'm Kristen, and I'm a PhD candidate at Indiana University. And I was just interested in hearing a little bit more about the program and about Dr. Badoni's work. So I just wanted to say thank you, Dr. Badoni, for sharing your trajectory with us today. It was a pleasure to hear about it and to hear a little bit more about your work with visual culture at NMSU. So thank you.
Okay, who's next? Just do the show of hands.
Hi, I'm Samantha Gallegos. I'm a junior at NMSU. I'm majoring in elementary education, and I'm also a student assistant at the American Indian program. And I've taken one of your classes, and I really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite.
Oh, Sam, I miss your face.
Yeah. Do you miss me asking you questions every day?
No, I don't. No, of course. You know me. I need interaction. I need this. But I mean, I need it in person. The Zoom only can do so much. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're healthy. You look great. I miss your face.
Thank you. I miss you too.
I'll go next. I'm Brittany Stout. I'm the administrative assistant over at the American Indian program. I work with both Sam and Michael, and of course, Dr. Pepion and Dr. Badoni. They are constantly, well, not constantly, they're frequently in the building. And it's nice to be able to see them again since we've been apart for so long. It's it's just like, oh, you're still there. Virtual hugs. But hi, everybody.
Okay, Don, you want to go? Okay. Okay, well, Van, you're the only one who hasn't gone through.
Hi, I'm Jessie Bomani, and I'm a graduate student in the anthropology department, and that's how I found out about this talk today. Last semester, I had Badoni for visual anthropology, and this semester, I have her for Women's Studies 533, which is what is going to be called next semester, the Native American Women course. So I just wanted to learn some more, and it's been really fun.
Awesome. Well, I think that rounds out everybody. Well, definitely, we're going to have future events where we do incorporate the Zoom environment, and again, hopefully they always get better each event. And as kind of like we talk about when it comes to that generational effect, you know, we always want the next generation to have it that much better than we've had it, because Dr. Badoni talked about her career in academia. You know, hopefully we'll get Dr. Pepion to talk about his career in academia. But, you know, we, as the American Indian program, we always want to make sure that our current students, our future students, will have that opportunity to gain knowledge from those who have that ability to share their stories. Because our stories, you know, as we talked about, you know, the other meeting I was supposed to be in, we were talking about the narrative, you know, rewriting our narrative, being that we have multiple identities sometimes, because the identity we have in the classroom is sometimes completely different from the identity that we have with our friends, which is completely different from what we have in our church communities, our family communities, and whatever it be. So how we navigate into those areas. But I just want to thank everybody for attending again. We're going to be looking at having this posted up on our website, aip.nmsu.edu. We're going to be looking at creating a YouTube page. So definitely, if everybody wants to go ahead and put their best smile on, we can go ahead and do a snapshot. That way we can show that, yeah, we all came together. We had a good turnout. And it's one of those times where it happened. We didn't just put up a flyer and said it happened, but it actually happened. Now, if I can get my Mac key combinations. Awesome. So, Dr. Badoni, any last remarks? You're muted at the moment.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all for joining on this evening. I really appreciate it. Sam, it's always great to see you. Jessie, of course. We've got so much more. I wish we could meet in person so we can go ahead and just talk. I really need the interaction. I really miss it. And hopefully I'll be able to see everyone on campus in the fall. So we can get back to some level of normalcy. So, but be well, stay healthy.
Definitely. And I think that goes, like we've been doing with our email announcements right now, be safe, stay well, go Aggies. Everybody have a good evening. We'll see you all again.